So as I said before, I am of the bisexuality degree. Now, one thing I do have to mention, as with this label that I've been labeled with continuously, or that I label myself with, is the fact that I pass as just a regular straight guy. Honestly, 99% of the case, that's true. And I mean, technically, passing as a straight guy is kind of heteronormative itself, but you're gonna get my point in a minute. So, for example, when you're just in the locker room or just talking around with people, and they say like some like, "God damn, man, yeah, fucking gay," right? And then you just laugh it off because like partially, I don't know how, like, it doesn't work the same for everything else, but partially it's a part of you that you can just stow away, like you're putting yourself in the closet, so nothing is affecting you that way. And if you do that, then that means you can just have the other fraction of you, which is actually a true part of you, the straight part of you, and deal with it that way. And because you can just have the facade up, it won't be that much of a facade because technically it'll be true. And I mentioned before, it's like 60-40 in my case. So because I'm able to just use that and hold that up, it's like, ha ha, please just think I'm straight, and not getting any backlash for it, I'm able to just pass normally. And if any conversations do come up in regards to the same gender, I can just do what I learned socially and just act accordingly. Act like I would act like a straight person in that situation. Like, for example, there are multiple instances where there were not, I don't want to say they were gay, but there was sexually questionable and curious members in my high school. Maybe like question myself in general, because there's, for example, like there's these three friends. I don't know the names at all, but they were really close. They're like almost like connected at the hip type shit, right? And there's rumors going around them with like they would lick each other or something like that. Something really weird, something very sensual, essentially. That was like the rumors going around, like, oh, they're fucking gay, dude. And it's like, oh, I mean, yeah, but my first thought was like, but if girls do that, it's fine though, right? I didn't say that because saying that would like kind of be like a mind blowing experience, right? Because like if some guys kiss or like they just like hug or whatever, you're like, oh, that's fucking gay. Girls do it, oh no, they're just friends, like because it's like the whole idea of how we fetishize the lesbianality. That's not a word. The lesbian homosexuality. And because we demonize the other side of the aspect. So in that sense, yes. Because like if you genuinely think about it, right? Because like when I said that, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I made a thought outside of what the normal purview of was in the early 2010s, which is like a very edgy stage in my early on high school career. But like I was wondering, like, if I thought that was normal, why did I think it was normal? So I just piqued my curiosity and like, oh, so that's why I thought it was normal, because I do, like that type of stuff. But that's not like the main reason. Well, it is because the fact that, like, again, it's demonized. So therefore, if you think it's normal to be intimate with a friend of yours, even though it's supposed to be demonized by society, then that means you must have some inclinations towards said gender. Now, of course, again, these are major presumptions, but this is how I got to the thought process of becoming and of finding out who I truly was, in that sense of the word, I guess that makes sense. And it was very eye-opening, essentially. And once I found that out, I'm like, holy shit, I can't say the gay jokes anymore because that's bad, And I was in a Christian school, dude. There was like two gay people in my school I know of, and weirdly enough, there were never like any outwardly lesbians, but I'm pretty sure there had to be, because it's kind of easy to be lesbian anywhere in the social setting of like being open with like let me explain, because like saying that doesn't make any sense. So again, the example of like being intimate with your friends, like you can be lesbian in that sense, like you can be like kiss your friend, whatever, and like, oh, they don't think about it at all. If you like you try to kiss your friend as a guy, it's like, oh, what the fuck, dude, you kind of gay. Like you can't hide that, but you can hide it pretty well in a lesbian sense. Anyway, my point is this, right? So I found that out. I had to like just hide it away, just demonize it, hide behind that, and never think about it, or even like want to even touch that side of the field, as I said. And because being male and male gay is the worst crime in the history of Christianity, and because of that, it's not repressed thoughts, but I've always had like what if situation going on there. And I also had because of that phase of me thinking about trying to hide that bi side of me, I was like being overly corrective in a straight sense, where I was trying to just like hunt down, like not hunt, well, yes, technically I was trying to hunt down women to date them to prove that I was straight and getting vag and having the sex at all times. It's a very masculine thing to do that, right? Well, not masculine, it's like a very men-esque thing to do, to prove that you're not a thing by overcompensating in other fields that would make people forget about the thing that you're not, even though no one really gives a damn what you're not. Like, what, I mean, genuinely, honestly, like, even to you incels out there, right? Because this is a perfect segue to incels. No one really cares if you're a virgin. Like, you go out there, you like your friends, just random strangers. No one really cares. Like, the vast majority of people don't even care. It's the internet congregate, and even in some rare instances, your other partner. Other than that, like, the vast majority of people just do not care if you're a virgin, if you had sex. It just don't, because like it just doesn't come up in the normal day conversations, and it's a very weird thing to fixate on. But that's how I compensated to make up and forget about that. And once I got out of high school, once I got out of that, repressive religious aspect, I started, realize, oh, well, maybe there's more to life than hiding behind myself. But the thing is, right, I still feel like I genuinely do still hide behind with reflex, because of the fact, like, it's been so long since realized shit like that, and because of that, also because it's easier, right? It's like, have you ever seen like any white passing mixed people? I've seen a couple, and I've noticed that, like, in most instances, if they don't mention they're black, a lot of white people, or like racist people who aren't necessarily white, but in most cases, let's just say white for the sake of brevity, they were like, oh, I didn't even know, wow. And it gets like the vibe gets a little bit tilted and off. It's like that, right? You kind of don't want to, in that instance, like, you don't want to embrace being black, because if you pass white so well, then you can get the privilege of being white. But that shouldn't be the main reason why you just don't act black. You shouldn't act black if you aren't acting black. I mean, if you're actually that black type of person. I mean, like, because like, I feel like subverting expectations is a good thing, right? But if you're just completely doing it, and it's like either hurting you in a sense, or like you're like repressing a thick ass accent, or you're just repressing your like desires, and like you're kind of hindering yourself as much as the benefit you get from just becoming what you're not, right? And that's what it proves being biased. That's how I was the entire time, and I think I still am now to the most part, right? Because like at the end of the day, like, even if I am, it still doesn't change who I am. It still doesn't change how I act as a personality or as a person in general. Like, and again, I am, in comparison to the heteronormative standard to be a man, I'm pretty normal in that set. So it's not really like anything that like whoa, I knew it, like, because I said this at the third. Like, it won't change that much. You know what I mean? So yeah, and basically, like, doing it because it is easier to hide it is very hypocritical, but confronting it in general is kind of hard, because again, I dealt so long without even thinking about confronting it, because it just became instinct. Because there was a phase in my life where lying became such a second instinct, such a second nature concept, that like I wouldn't even know if I was lying. It wouldn't be like I was good at lying, but I just wouldn't know that I was lying anymore. And I assume a lot of people would like line it up with being talented with lying, but I feel like it's more along the lines of like, you just want to be in that world where the lie is true so bad that you actually make it true in your mind. And therefore, if you tell a lie to anyone else, they're going to immediately assume that the lie is the truth that you're telling to them. You know what I mean? It's just a very, very wild concept. Yes, that's my whole story of bisexuality, and how I've dealt with it. You know what I mean? All right. There you go.